Alright guys, so let's get right into it, alright? There is a ton of misinformation out on the internet, on social media about what matters for a baseball player. What I see a lot and what I hear my athletes come up to me with that they've read about or they've heard about, all that stuff, is I just need to get stronger. Strength is everything. I just need to bump on my deadlift by X amount of pounds. I just need to get double body weight on my squat, all that stuff, and I'm going to be able to throw 90 miles per hour. I'm going to be able to hit more bombs, all that stuff. And guess what? Complete BS. Okay? Is there value to adding strength, gaining strength as a baseball player? Yes, absolutely, absolutely. But it does not, every pound on the bar does not equal more miles per hour on your fastball, and more pounds on the bar certainly does not equal more home runs or a higher output of power with your bat. Okay, it just does not. And you know, I've tried it myself with my clients, with my athletes, and it really doesn't seem to be working that way at all, because I was actually one of people that believed that strength mattered that much, and I've believed that for many years and trained my athletes that way for a long time, and I just wasn't seeing the results. Okay, and so where does this belief come from? Where does this idea come from that strength is that important? Okay, it comes from the simple equation of power equals force production times speed. All right, so the more force you can apply into your throw or into your swing in as minimal time as possible, more force, less time equals more power. Makes sense, right? So based on the equation, a lot of people are isolating this variable right here, the force production output, saying I'm going to be increasing squat, deadlift, all the compound movement in the weight room, and I'm going to be able to develop more force. Okay, so in a way it makes sense, right? But in practice it doesn't work quite like that. This is not that easy. Okay, so one of the reasons why it doesn't work like that is because strength is a skill that's specific. Meaning, if you increase your squat, then you are stronger at squatting. Is there some carryover to other things? Yeah, certainly. But is there a lot of carryover from the movement that's in the sagittal plane, right? So just going up and down like this, to a movement that is completely rotational in nature, whether we're talking about the baseball swing or a baseball throwing motion? It's not that simple, guys. It's just not. The amount of force you're going to be developing in the ground in that one plane of motion is not going to translate that well into a rotational movement. So that's one thing that's super important to consider. And the other thing that's really important to consider is strength is somewhat subjective, and let me explain to you what I mean by that. We have two guys right here, okay, who can squat. This guy right here, you know, not great on his range of motion, but that's as low as he can go. But this guy here can squat 400 pounds. Okay? Guy can lift some weights. Other guy next to him, cannot squat nearly as much weight. He can only squat, let's just say 270 here for the purpose of this example. If I was going to ask you who's stronger, a lot of people would be tempted to say, hey, this guy moves a lot more weight. But keep one thing in mind. He cannot squat lower than this. Okay, that's as low as he can go. So he's a little tight, not great mobility, but he squats 400. Can produce a lot of force, right? This guy here cannot produce as much force, but certainly has more range of motion in his hips, in his knees, and his ankles. So who's stronger? A lot of people will say this guy. And I could see why. I could certainly see why. But I could probably make an argument why this guy would be stronger, you know. This guy is getting into some range of motion that this guy can't even get. He is way stronger at the bottom here than this guy who can't even get in that position. Okay? But, you know, subjective in a way. So that's what I mean by strength is subjective. So that's another thing to keep in mind here. Okay? But now the problem is we have athletes who try to do it backwards. They're trying to like get as strong as possible, put more weight on the bar, and get stronger and get stronger and get stronger. While in the meantime, you know, they're working very little on their skills, or not putting the emphasis on it as they should, and also neglecting movement quality and mobility. Because when you get that strong and you're able to squat 400 like this, a lot of times when the mobility work doesn't come with it, you lose that mobility. You lose that ability to rotate your hips and rotate your spine and rotate your torso and your shoulders. So that's something that people need to consider. Okay, so in my experience, like I said, I've used those methods before: max strength, and push the weight with a lot of my athletes. And early on in my career, I was doing that, and guess what? I wasn't really seeing the results I thought I was going to see. I worked with some pitchers that I thought, you know, they were throwing like 87, 88 at the college level. I'm like, dude, I'm going to take your fastball to 95 in about a year or two tops, and then boom, you're going to make it. It didn't work. It didn't work that way. In some instances, getting stronger did exactly nothing to their fastball. It didn't. Okay? So that was, you know, that was my first reality check. I was like, well, what's going on here? Okay? And then my second reality check is when I have a couple years of experience in pro baseball as a strength and conditioning coach, working in that setting and just witnessing all the guys, all the players, the position players, all the pitchers, and looking at what they do training-wise. There's not that many who are really that strong. Looking at all the pitchers who can throw 90 plus, how many of them can deadlift double body weight, back squat double body weight? I'm telling you, it's less than 1%. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Across the board, it's less than 1%. So, how is that possible? How is that possible that strength does not matter? That's what everybody's talking about. This is really what seems to be working for a lot of guys. But guess what? It's really just not that simple. And reality check number 3, from being in the business for just about 15 years now, I've witnessed a lot of individuals in the private sector, in a team setting, in a professional baseball setting, and the strongest guy on the team is almost never the best player on the field. It just doesn't translate like that. Okay, so to me, those are all like facts that just like goes to show that strength is all not what it's all cracked up to be. And what I'm trying to say here is not that strength doesn't matter at all. Okay, it does matter a little bit, as much as the other components of performance. But in my mind, the solution is having a more global approach where, yes, we get stronger, but we work on our movement quality and our mobility, and most of all, like, we work on our skills, right? Perfecting our skill, and also not neglecting the mental side of things. Baseball is a sport that is very, very much has a very big mental component. If you're not on your game, if you're not confident when you step up to the plate, things are not going to go well for you. So it's important to develop all those things, and especially the movement and mobility part of it, and the skills part of it. Okay, that's how you get better as a baseball player. And adding strength is going to help a little bit for some players, and for some others, it's not going to help at all. But I can tell you from my experience, and I've seen a lot of success with a lot of baseball players in my recent years. And guess what? A lot of times, guys finish their off-season training, they go back to their team, and they are definitely not the strongest they've ever been. but they leave feeling the best they've ever felt, and they're telling me, that's what they're telling me, that they are hitting the ball harder than they've ever been before, and they're not at their strongest. So that goes to show you that strength is not the answer for everything. So guys, hopefully you like this video. If you like it down below here. Share it with your friends. Show it to people who think you might benefit from this. You know, post any questions you might have for us, and hopefully that was helpful, and I'll catch you guys later.